Hey, hello my friends. So good to spend time with you again. And I wanted to share my thoughts and feelings about staying positive during difficult and very dark times. And it can be extremely challenging with all the stresses that we have from everyday demands. People around us, for the most part, can feel as if they're very depressed or anxious. And it doesn't help that it seems that every time you turn on the news or other form of media, even more distressing events are highlighting the headlines that we see and that we hear. And although it can be tempting to just let go and just let the darkness to swallow us, I beg if you don't. The minute that we do, despair and hopelessness will be overwhelming, and it becomes harder and harder to get out of it. So I feel that now more than ever, we need to hold this light within ourselves and offer it to each other. And I can honestly say that when I've had the darkest of times, the first thing that you have to do is just admit that, again, it has affected you. Toxic positivity is this when somebody pretends that it's like that meme, you have everything going crazy around you and going crazy and insane inside of you, and that meme that says, I'm okay, it's okay, everything's okay, and it's very evident that it's not. So part of being able to hold positivity and realistic optimism is not negating what you're feeling. It is not turning a blind eye to what is happening around us and around the world. It is part of being able to hold this and staying afloat is acknowledging where you are every day. And you're going to have your good days, you're going to have your bad days. But if you do that and you acknowledge that the emotions that are moving through you are doing that, they are moving through you. They are not you. The impact of what we see around us are always trying to solicit some sort of emotions or reactions. And just be aware of that, but still hold the power of your own choices. Whenever I've been through my darkest of times, I would do that. I would acknowledge that my emotions would have to go through the grieving of the old, the shock of what I knew has passed away, and some of the trepidation of not knowing how to proceed. This is just very realistic and very honest. But with that, I also acknowledge that there is good within me, there's good within you, there's good within the world around us. And where you focus, where you put your energy, is what will grow. So what I would find is that I would do that. I would first look at the blessings that I still have when I was going through the hardships of my life. And it would be difficult, but it would remind me that as dark as my night of the soul would be, that the stars were still shining. And it would encourage me to reach out, to ask for help. There'd be times that I just couldn't, get up, and that's okay too. It doesn't make you less than. But if you give yourself that optimism, if you give yourself that idea of there is a place to reach and to hope for, this can lift you. The other thing too is while you're working through whatever difficulties, and again, for me, I'm very concerned with what is going on, around the world right now. Don't take away from the little joys and pleasures that you can give yourself. Be present as much as possible. Because if you keep on dwelling on the past, and yes, we can acknowledge what happened in the past, seems to be repeating now, whether it be a personal past or a historical global past. And if you keep giving energy to that, then a couple things. One, you can get lost in the past and dragged in again. You can get lost in that. And with that, you can actually and accidentally, if you don't change and you're just dwelling on the emotions and ruminating what happened without distilling the lessons, you can accidentally recreate and infect the future with the chaos of the past. But if you acknowledge the past and distill the lessons and don't judge yourself, again, could you or other people in your past have done things better? Indubitably. But the fact is, that is then. This is now. And now you have that opportunity to make changes. If how many times have we said, if I only knew back then what I knew now? Well, guess what? Now you know better. And now with that power, you can shape the destiny of the future differently. And in the meantime, as I said to you before, taking little bites of happiness and joy. And I liken it to very much like the swimmers and the Olympic swimmers, that when they crawl through the water, they come up for a gasp of air before they go back down again. And life can feel like that, as if you're barely treading water or crawling underwater. But little pleasures, reading a book. I love to connect with nature. Talking to somebody who cares, is a tremendous way of being able to remind yourself and to be present and say, as dark and as difficult as things can be right now, it hasn't taken my power away to think clearly, to keep my heart open, to make wise choices, to make a different future. And in addition to this, I find that for me, what I love to do is, notice I didn't say instead of, I like adding, is helping others. I cannot stand the feeling of helplessness. I don't do well sitting on my hands, looking as troubles or things accumulate where I've been invited and there's the opportunity to make life better for myself and for other beings and human beings on this planet. So hence volunteering and getting involved with a cause that is a worthy cause, a cause that is greater than yourself, does so much for you. So when we're isolated, that's when things can get really, I'm going to say magnified. Because when we're by ourselves, the mind can just keep on spinning in circles, the emotions can just keep on coming and going, crashing in waves, and it can be hard to center our spirits in the middle of it. But if you think of, even if it's one way, just pick one, that you would like to ease suffering, that you would like to help for the world to be better for that one individual, whether it be a person, an animal, the creatures of the ocean, a tree, the land, you get the idea. I call it the power of one. If we all focus on the power of one and oneness, yes, there might still be madness and evil happening in the world, but it will not have ever the power to overthrow and to overcome. The other thing that I would say to you is, in addition to, volunteering in some way, it doesn't have to require money. Just your heart and your time being with other kindred spirits helps to open your eyes, helps you to relax, because you're not stuck in your isolated little world going in a little hamster wheel, but speaking and reaching out to others, knowing that there are good people striving for the same thing that you believe in, for a better world, is such a strong medicine. For me, it just gives me such hope, and I know that it would for you too. It helps to remove apathy and begins to give motivation. Another thing that I like to do during the hardest of times is what I call little rewards. And there is a greater teaching, the teaching of the cactus. There's some of you who might be familiar with studying the sacred ground with me. which is the Sacred Round, is a deep study that talks about your divine contract. But that will be another video for another day. But little happinesses where you fill the reservoir of your heart. Just simple little things. Every day you reward yourself. Because, why? You've survived another day. That can be enough, especially when you're feeling down. And please get rid of, oh, I didn't work hard enough, I'm not worthy enough. No, right? You persevered. You didn't give up. Maybe you had a day where you needed to take a breather, but you met yourself where you are today. Giving yourself little happinesses, little rewards, and it's different for everybody, is that incentive that can help you just get through another day. And when times are tough, sometimes you take it day by day. I've had times where I've taken it minute by minute. I'm sure you have too. And having little happinesses, listening to music. I like hearing the birds sing. You know, and believe it or not, I've even gotten down sometimes. There's been such a day where just being able to, just doing breathing exercises and having a pleasant incense or something around me, just to bring me back into my senses. Things that help to spark that inner child, little acts of creativity. And let me talk about creativity, because that's really another fantastic way of lifting yourself up. Creativity is not strictly art. You know, a lot of people get, oh, I'm not creative, I don't write, I'm not an artist. Creativity is when you apply yourself to manifest or make something to happen. And we each have different forms of creativity. And it can have different expressions. So I know when I'm talking about staying positive during dark times, it doesn't mean that whatever you create has to be happy, artificial happy. That's toxic. Let it express your emotions, you know, as long as you don't get stuck anywhere. You know, sometimes for me, when I have just so much in my heart and my mind can't think and I'm so tired, sometimes I'll play a sad song and I'll just cry. Because the lyrics or the energy of that music is helping to express something that I can't. And another time, if it's my own creativity, I'll write. You know, I have some writings. And I like doing some small sculptings that will express the whole gamut and range of emotions. And because they're mine, I'm not worried about putting them on display anywhere. You know, my journaling, my sculpting, my music choices, and are all mine, as you can have free what is yours. And knowing that you have that safe space to express your emotions. And it's interesting because there are times you might go back to that journal, go back to that painting, that writing, whatever. And it's interesting to examine what you were thinking, how you moved through things. Sometimes that's where you see the wisdom as well, you know, coming through that. And that safe space allows for you to just to get it off your chest, level your spirit, relax your body, so that you go, okay, now that that is out, I now have space to begin looking in a different direction. So, my friends, that's what I would have to say to you. Just two other things I'd like to note that really is very impactful for remaining realistic optimists, like I like to be, or remaining positive, is taking care of yourself and your environment. I can't state that enough. If your environment is absolute chaos and you don't like it, you're going to feel tense all the time. So as much as possible, insert into that environment that is around you those things that comfort you, those things that help you to say, okay, I'm good here. I'm good here for now. And making sure that you sleep and eat as well as possible. Being rested, giving yourself nourishment, body, mind, and spirit, is the building blocks that, whether you're conscious of it or not, really impacts your mood and has a tremendous effect on how you view yourself in the world. And final note, and I'll share this with you, there are times that I have no idea where to turn. I have no idea what to do. And one of my personal favorites is to read the lives of those people whom I admire and see how they overcame their hardships. How did they move through what they did and become who they are, the person that I really admire. So, for me, I would say that, Jim Henson was one, that just reading about him. The Book of Joy, that was from the Archbishop Desmond Tutu, is now in spirit, and the Dalai Lama, and even Ron Paulson, who has inspired me to make these videos. I love him. I've met him several times. So just connecting, whether it be reading or meeting the people that you admire, and seeing how they move through it is a reflection of how you can do it too. Because if you are really like these people, I got a secret for you. There's a part of you that's like them. That's why you're attracted to them. So take that into your heart and let it warm your heart. And as always, my friends, thank you so much for sharing this time with me. Let's hold this time together. Let's not give up. Let's do our part piece by piece, day by day, taking action in order to build a better tomorrow. And so with this, until we speak again, Wanishi, and so many bright blessings. Take care.